You said that sometime after the Ramones, you had to reinvent yourself? Is that how you saw it? After that experience after the Ramones?
Yeah, after the Ramones. I mean, so 5 years worth of this, and now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You became this household name. You did all this touring. I wind up in L.A., grow my hair long, like in '88. That was the thing, to have long hair. Hung around in all the Cat House and all those clubs with everybody. But there was just something about, like, you know, fiddled with some other bands. When you were Ramone, you were Ramone. You were one of the four. I just couldn't get into playing backup drummer to a singer. I just couldn't do that anymore. I couldn't be the backup guy. We were part of that family, and so after a while I just said stop, and I took a long rest, you know, and wanted to reinvent myself. What can I do now? And what's cool about this is, after the Ramones of the fast and faster beat only, now I can show what I'm made of and really appeal more to, you know, the Ramones were never the most fabulous musicians. I mean, Dieter Ramone, I think the last 3 years in his band, he knew what the note was. Before, you just pointed on the bass, play there, there, there. Okay? Wow. So I get to play with musicians and get to show what that's all about and show another side. But incorporate, you know, the hard side of the rock and roll. You know, I mean, that's my style, so that's what I do.
I wanted to ask you about a West Side Story.
Okay.
If I get this right, your first exposure to the West Side Story score wasn't going to see the play or hearing the, you know, the Broadway cast album. It was the Buddy Rich version of the score. Is that right?
Rich, yeah.
So your introduction was through drums, that
Exactly.
drum arrangement.
When I was in high school, my last 2 years, there was another drummer in Wayne, New Jersey, and he was a big Buddy Rich fan. I mean, he built a stage in his room, and everything was Buddy Rich. And I would hang with him, and he let me listen to early Buddy Rich, and, you know, the speed of Buddy was amazing. And I always heard that West Side Story piece. He did something with a big band that's nothing like this.
Yeah.
I think there's 3 or 4 songs in it. But I always liked that intro and everything. It was tough. It sounded tough to me, which is what I want to do. I want to do stuff tough. I'm not going to play Brahms or, you know, whatever. And the music, come on, the music is tough, it's sweet, it makes you cry, and the piece is just brilliant. And, you know, when that first came out, it was panned. They said, you know, this is going to be a disaster. And it took like a year before it took off, and now look what that musical is. I think it's on Broadway right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
When was the first time, Richie, you started conceiving this idea of, you know, distilling the songs into a suite? When did that occur to you?
Probably in like 2005, 2006, you know. I wanted to play with the orchestra. I wanted to, wow, 80 pieces, 90 pieces. How can I incorporate that? I didn't want to go there and like count 40 bars. Oh, you ready? Vroom. And you'd be done, you know.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring the kid on stage, and it's just not done, you know, and I didn't think it would work. So around 2006, got the idea, and I was in L.A. and met Rachel Warby, the maestro for the Pasadena Pops, and told her about this idea, and she was floored, and she booked me right on the spot.
Wow.
Never heard me play or anything like that. Says, you put this together, I'm doing it. And we did 3 sold-out nights like a year later. So, and now I'm starting to see, you know, it's a risky thing. It's a big deal to put all this together, a lot of time, but the people are loving it. I mean, they're just going to their feet at the end. It's really exciting to see that. Drumming is a big visual part of looking at something, you know, and then that kit's out front and the visuals and the hands are flying around, you know. It's cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool.
You really like the idea that that the percussion could drive the orchestra. I think
Right.
there's a critic who's told you once that it was as if you were, playing the melody almost.
Yeah,
right?
some people describe me as I'm like playing the melody, you
Yeah.
know, when they saw this. Like, I don't know exactly what that means, but I guess, you know.
But you like the idea?
Yeah. Being melodic. And what they mean by playing the melody, I'm doing so many things in there that I'm not just going boom, but I'm not just holding the backbeat down. I'm playing on top of that beat.
Yeah.
And I'm catching everything. You know, you got the horn hit, you got this, you got the string, you know, all that, you know, so there's so much stuff in my head, and I'm not reading the music. I have it all memorized, you know, so there's a lot to catch, you know, and that's what you got to do, catch all that stuff. That's fun.
How did how to put this? How did the classical music establishment, the orchestra establishment, were they suspicious of this idea at first?
Well, yes, they were. I mean, I remember they do the whole night, and I usually close the night because, you know, they do 40 minutes and 40 minutes, and mine is at the end. I can't imagine mine being anywhere else because I think people would just go home after that. Yeah. But I remember they wheeled the drums out, you know, right? You know, the maestro starts talking, and now we have this, and this kit comes wheeling out across the stage. I was told they heard gasps like, oh, what is that, you know? And I had one violin player who got up and left during my piece. The first 2 nights, he wouldn't play it. And then by the 3rd night, I think he wanted all those standing O's, so he stayed and played it. But, so, it's great.
When you're finished at the end of the piece, are you spent, exhausted?
Yeah, I think if I was playing here in 5,000 feet, I'd need a little oxygen at the end. But, yeah, I'm pretty spent. I wouldn't say you're spent as, you know, 1 hour after the Ramones, because it's nonstop. But you're spent. You're spent mentally, too. You know, there's a lot of... You're thinking a lot as all this is going down. There's a lot of drum riffs and a lot of fills, and listening to the orchestra, making sure they're going to make it happen, because you only do 1 rehearsal, maybe 2. Yeah. You know, all that music, 1, 2 rehearsal. It's all up to them to learn it and make it happen, as opposed to a band that's on the tour. They know every move that the other guy's going to make throughout the song.
So, what's the music you're thinking about a lot these days? What's the stuff that you're wanting to do? Are you changing? Are you always try to keep moving? What are you interested in these days?
You know, I still say you got to listen to everything. I still try to listen to everything. You know, I'm not out there like zoning in on one person or one artist. Listen to the radio. You can go through the radio station and find lots of good stuff, you know. And I'm not really, I don't really go for one thing. I don't know. I can't say I have an idol or something like that. I just never have. I don't know. I've never had that. I don't know why. But
do you have a project you're working on?
We're going to do a new project. I'm going to do another piece, which I want to do from all the James Bond movies.
Wow.
Now here we go again, James Bond with the women and sex. It all ties into Ramones and all that stuff. And you know the wonderful pieces. Imagine like Goldfinger and From Russia with Love, with the orchestra, with the drums slamming. It's going to be another spectacular piece. So, and eventually get enough material where I can do a whole second half. That's what I want to do, an evening with Richie Ramone, and they play the first half and I do the second half, and I think it'll really take off at that time, you know.
Do you, it's interesting you kept the Ramone surname. Is it the idea that once you're a Ramone, you kind of are always a Ramone?
No, for 5 years I worked hard, and I'm keeping that name, you know. I put up with a lot, and I'm not giving that name up, you know. I mean, you have to. I mean, the people know that, and it's a wonderful tool and a wonderful outlet. I'm not going to, people know me as Richie Ramone. I'm not going to, like, not use it. I mean, that would be like starting over again. You know what I had to put up with those guys to get that name?
Great. Richie Ramone.
Thank you. This is great.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.